All right. Have another one. So this is going to be Joe here. And this is Joe. This is John over here. Both are purple belts. I think John just got his purple. And so we'll get started. This should be good. So going in, all this pretty standard so far. So he steps in. So just real quick, couple things. I know I've only been a couple seconds in, but right off the bat, I typically, especially at purple belt, I would recommend the person passing here just deny connection with the legs for as long as possible. Connection with the legs, whether it be Joe with his hooks, trying to create some sort of connection with his feet, or trying to get connection with his hands. This is generally the way to prevent guard passing and to actually apply guards. So the longer I can keep someone from actually controlling my feet here or getting connection, not controlling, but just getting connection, maybe the easier the passing, may be able to achieve an easier pass. And that being said, nothing wrong with stepping into the guard like this. Just want to point that out. If you do try this and they do get connection, and then, from there, then you would start from this position here. And as far as the bottom perspective here for Joe, this hand right here, I always tell guys and recommend to deny connection with the head or anything above the shoulders here. If John gets connection with the head here and he starts to produce like knee slices and starts to try to maybe ride high or something and ride the legs, connection with the upper body, any little forward passing that John gains here, then he keeps, obviously, because he's anchored onto the top. He's anchored to the top of the body. So not the end of the world, because Joe's still obviously sitting up. But if he doesn't address his hand by the time he goes to his side, then this could be a potential problem with passing. So already, it's not terrible. There's still an anchor on the neck. I always say just immediately address this arm around the head. I just do not allow that. It's just not good to have upper body connection, and it just makes your guard playing that much more difficult. So not bad. We got a knee shield here, and there looks like there was an attempt to go through some De La Riva here with the outside leg here. John is kind of going to a headquarters position, and we'll see how he pursues. Okay, I do like what John did there. When you go to headquarters, it's always a good idea to shift left and shift right, or shimmy left and shimmy right. This changes the angles and changes the direction of the side you're going to pass on, and this can be a very good, just to throw combinations to try to pass. So I do like that he switched to the kind of the uncommon side to pass, which would be to Joe's left here. Most people usually will pass to the right from the guard perspective, but I do like that John switched here and shifted to his right, and this would give him a bit of start to produce looks like somewhat of a knee ride pass here because you his knee here, and again you can see the connection with the head. Not something I generally recommend. Now, there are times you can play guards where you're in this position and you can actually start to play like, deeper halves and things like this, and, reverse De La Rivas and false reaps and things like this. You can actually do this, leg locks and things. This is fine. But as far as guard retention, not such a great idea. So let's see here. Okay, so John's doing a good job here. He's trying to get upper body connection, and he's trying to get a little bit of inside position here with his left arm. Joe needs to be careful with John getting inside position here, and obviously trying to achieve some sort of upper body connection and chest to chest connection. What I'd like to see here is, at this point, Joe's gonna have to spend some time trying to either create some distance and disconnect this upper body connection. Or he's going to go in deep here and start to get an underhook with the left arm, possibly playing some, maybe some lockdown stuff, some deep half. There's different types of guards you can play with a deeper position, like even reverse De La Riva, things like this. But we'll see. A little bit. I thought I was going to go for a headlock there, a little guillotine. some kind of cradle position. And this is like positions like this. Just take a look at this. If John decided to go to a cradle position here, he could do so pretty easily because of the connection with the head. Okay, there's connection with the head here. He can reach over around the head like he looks like he was going to do. He can also take his left arm here and reach around the leg and start to produce a cradle position. And this is all because he has connection with the upper body. Okay, so Joe got his arm back to the inside, and actually look at that. So he looks like he's going to like a bit of a cradle. So he's going his arm around the neck, and he's going to go arm around the leg, and we'll see. Okay, good. So he opted not to do that. Joe probably defended from the inside, something we can't see, and we're still keeping pressure. Now, I do like this. He's kind of creating a frame on the face, making it uncomfortable for the person on bottom. And this is kind of, again, in my opinion, unless Joe's actually going to start to go to a guard that requires you to be this close to your partner, then I would say at this point he's spending. He's going to start spending too much energy, right? He's already having to address this frame on the face. This is going to deter, be a bit of a deterrent from him actually wanting to play specific guards. So now he's becoming more reactionary, just in this one little scenario. But we'll see how it goes here. But I do like the idea of putting the frame and on the face here, putting pressure down, a little bit of sprawl, and we'll see what Joe goes to here as far as the guard is concerned. So as you can see, he's addressing the hander, and I would address the hand too, probably. Little thing you can try here, actually, from the bottom perspective, is just turn your face down to the mat. I always say, and I learned this from doing, just doing Panda for a long time, and people putting their shin on my face and shin on my side of my head and all this. I just turn and look at the ground, and now the pressure is being absorbed by kind of like the back of your neck, which is actually, you can actually take a lot more pressure there. I mean, it sucks. It's not, it's not great, but but you can absorb it rather than just be on the side of your cheek. And of course, trying to bring your hand in to try to prevent that. And then you could free the hand up here. So I would really like to see Joe occupy this space, like really utilize this space that John's giving him here. Okay. So I like that he has the underhook here. So he's going to a bit of a body lock from the bottom position. I'd like to see what he's going to do with the feet here to try to start to manipulate the legs. A lockdown would be really nice right here. If John could actually produce a lockdown, I know there's a lot of dependency here on his right leg here with this knee shield. Honestly, he may not at this point, because he's so deep on the hips here. It'd be in his best interest, in my opinion, would be get rid of this knee shield, step the right leg over, and start to go into sort of like some sort of lockdown, maybe even a John Wayne type of thing, and just try to get the right leg over just to get control of this outside leg, and then he could scoop this leg here with his left arm and start to play a little bit, slide his hips underneath, and start to play a little bit of. I mean, you can go all over the place from there. You can go to leg locks, you can go to X guards, you can go to all kinds of things, or even deep half. So. Again, I say deep half a lot. I'm not a huge fan of deep half. I just think that if you're in the inside this close, there's opportunity. But certainly in this position, I'd probably opt to get a lockdown just because he has an underhook here. He can get an easy underhook on the leg here. And then if he just simply switched his feet here, he'd have a pretty solid lockdown. And then he could get a pretty easy sweep here. So we'll see what happens with this underhook. Again, John frames on the face here. That's good. He's trying to get reaction. And see, Joe gets a little preoccupied here with this elbow, trying to stop the pressure. Again, I would turn my face down to the ground just to absorb some of that so I can free my right hand. And again, if you would actually absorb that for a couple seconds and then take his left hand here and scoop under the leg here, switch his feet. Even if he didn't switch his feet, just trap this leg and then turn both knees to the ceiling and slide his hips underneath. And this is a very good way to get your opponent off balance and get them to the right. So this knee shield is it's a little working against him here. This is something that I think it makes sense. I think it does make sense, but at a certain point, he's just spending a lot of energy. Energy is being spent here to try to just kind of keep John, off of him just to get a little bit of space. And there's too much work is being done here. Again, it'd be much more effective just to take this right leg out, go for a lockdown, or just even simply slide the hips in and try to get him turning this way while scooping the leg here. Now, John's leg has actually changed now. He's kind of looking like he may go to a reverse queso, but he does have a crossface. So let's see what he switched. Okay, so he switched the arm over top. John switched over top here. And right here, I'd really like to see is if Joe's not going to do that, he can take this right leg and turn it into a hook. So you see his foot's right here, just kind of, it's just there. This right foot over here for his right leg should turn into a hook. You can see John is really leaning to the right here, to his right. And if he can produce a hook, he can at least get a little bit off balance. And the knee is blocked here. His left hand is right here blocking the knee. He could potentially produce a sweep. This would release the crossface that John has, and John would have to post. He have to post out to the right, and this would create plenty of space to do stuff. And then he's not like framing on your face anymore. He's not cross facing you. So that's would be from this particular position, and it would also free the knee shields. Like, it gets rid of the knee shield and puts all the emphasis on the hook. You get the hook there, and then this left arm, just to kind of make it all come together, take this left arm and really scoop into that inside position. John is giving Joe here inside position just by kind of hugging. This is generally not a good idea from the bottom perspective. If Joe were to slide this right arm and not reach for the hip here, but reach for the far shoulder. If he reaches for the far shoulder, it really tilts John over, along with the hook, along with blocking the leg, and then he can actually produce he'd probably be able to produce a pretty solid sweep. So see right here, you can see that foot right there, just kind of hanging out there. A lot of dependency on this knee shield here. This should, in my opinion, be turning into a hook, and this right hand should be reaching as far as he can over to the right, to the left. Again, I do kind of like this. I like the body lock thing if he can actually get some lockdown on the leg here, or get some control of the legs. Okay, and so now we're starting to turn a little bit of a hook here. There's a little bit of a hook starting to get produced here, because you can see John is starting to get really tilted here to the right, and we'll see. Okay, so right there, that's just Joe's arm was more around the waist, around the rib line here. His right hand should have been way over here, okay, by John's shoulder, and this would tilt John. And then he can also, even if he didn't use a hook, he could actually use the right hand here, right leg here, just to post on the ground to get a good bridge. If anything, this would create a scramble, or even get him to get maybe a full guard back or something. But he opts to put the hand back to the inside position. And that's not a terrible thing, because there's panda systems and all this stuff that, we use quite a bit. But he has such a great position here, in my opinion. Like, John is doing a really good job kind of floating and just keeping that constant pressure. But Joe, from the bottom perspective here, has a lot of inside position available to him. He's got inside position between John's legs. He's got inside position between the armpit and the hip here. I mean, so, he has the inside position. And in theory, you should... you can go to many different techniques. You just have to really commit to them. Okay, so see, there was no hook there, so it looked like he was going to go to a hook, and then John is actually trying to step over now. So now there's going to be a threat of a mount. It appears that the right knee is still on the inside, Joe's right knee, and Joe's right arm is now still on the inside. So now doesn't appear to be a threat of a Kimura grip or anything like that, or Kimura type control. So we'll see what happens. Nice. So John gets a little too high there, and then now he's trying to come back and square up with Joe. Joe has a really good bite on the leg here. If he scoops this leg, if he can throw that left leg over, because he still has his right knee in, then he can start to produce, go into a little bit of a leg lock entry into it, like an ashigarami position or something. From there, go into other positions. So right here, looks like he was trying to go into an ashigarami position to throw the left leg in. He's compressed. So now he's compressed in, and this is not, unless he's just super flexible, you're not going to be able to throw this left leg in here. Maybe he is, but you can see, again, this is the consequence of just this arm grabbing on the back of his head here. And this has been kind of consistent, right? John has had control of the head, and this has just made it very difficult for Joe to play guard or create space, especially with that knee shield. It's in a war. It's like an attrition battle. It's a war of attrition, and John's going to win because he's on top, and so that means that Joe's carrying his weight, and he's having to technically work less, right, than being on top. So now we'll see if he can, because he's getting compressed by that hook, by that collar tie, then he may be able to get this. But let's see what happens here. Okay, so back to the same position, and John's happy just staying in this position, kind of a reverse case of type thing, and just kind of staying heavy here with the hips. And again, Joe is still focusing on that right leg being the knee shield. I really think this is working a bit against him now as far as getting him mobile and going to other positions. He's kind of just stuck in this position because he's really focused on this knee shield. Again, there's a lot of inside position available here because John is just kind of blanketing over, kind of like just falling over with his arms over top of Joe here. So there's plenty of inside position here. It's just committing to that idea. But I will say Joe's doing good here that he's staying tight, right? He's not allowing John to get the inside position between his armpit and his hip. John going back to a cross face, it appears. Right here, there's a lot of space going on, so we'll see what happens here. And it appears that John's starting to lose a little bit of balance. And now we're starting to see a little bit of hook here. You're seeing the right foot's a big hook, and I can see it's getting affected because the knee shield is coming out. And so the knee shield is not really needed. He needs to produce this hook and start to tilt. Okay, right there. That was better. I'd like to see his right knee a little sticking out a little bit more, but just to get that hook to go over. He's going to a body lock here. Nothing wrong with that, I'd say. I still would like to see that left hand blocking that far leg, and this right hand here should be reaching right there on that right shoulder. And this will really tilt John over to his right, and that'll probably make him want to step that left leg back to stop the sweep. But he has a hook, so he'll be able to follow the sweep. Okay, there's the hook. Okay, good. You see the back toe here? This is Joe's toe over here, and he's starting to press up on the floor here, and he's going to do kind of a traditional butterfly sweep if he can get that tilt going. So this is good. Okay, not bad. Okay, good. So not bad, but obviously John had to retract, and when John retracted, this gives space. So now Joe has space, and now he's in a different position. And he has a good butterfly. Looks like he has both his butterfly hooks in. There's space between him and John, but again, he's got to get rid of this hook on the head. This is the worst thing for guard players. They could get connection with your head. It's just that it just burns a lot of energy that it's unnecessary for you. Just get rid of that, and then you'll be able to play more and more open guards, Z guards, and I guess Z guard's kind of a closed guard, but I mean distance wise, is it closed off? Okay, so we got butterfly guard here. Okay, a little bit of hand fighting. Okay, we got some. Okay, so John is, as far as John is concerned from the top position now, again, he reached for the head. He's got connection with the head again. He was kind of fighting the hands there a little bit. I wouldn't recommend doing that, kind of fighting the hands. He should be kind of focusing on the legs here, trying to get, not allow those hooks to be attached to his legs, before he actually starts to fight the hands. But, then again, he's got control of the neck here. He's got a connection with the back of the neck. And this is going to allow him to start to progress forward. Okay, Joe going into a reefing position, opting to go into an ashigarami position. So he's starting to throw his right foot over. And it looks like John was doing a pretty good job. He's using his left elbow to kind of block it and kind of pry the right foot off from getting on the hip. So he's trying to keep the legs separated so that he can keep putting pressure in. Again, you see him reaching for the neck again. He reaches for the neck, and this can be actually a pretty good counter to leg entries from a standing position. If you just connect to the person's head, but you get really heavy, you can actually usually kind of prevent getting tilted and swept. Really good leg lock guys are still going to sweep you, but this connection with the head is usually a pretty good option to kind of stay connected. The general rule with leg locks, as far as defense, is one of the main rules is to separate the legs and keep them open. And that's kind of what John was doing here. He was trying to block this left leg from actually getting onto his hip or even reaping over, which would be worse. And Joe technically wants to get this right foot reaping all the way over so that he can start to face to his left. And this would obviously improve his position from Ashigurami position to more of a reaping position, what we refer to as kind of a sambo lock position or a sambo reap position. There's all kinds of different names for it now, Z-locks and all this stuff. But so we'll continue here. Again, you see the compression because Joe's getting compressed here with the neck. There's that connection with the neck, and flexibility is going to play a big part in trying to get this leg over. If this was not here, Joe could actually start to create some distance here. Okay, so Joe gives up on the leg there and switches. Go back to that guard. Again, he's very dependent on this knee shield. And there's nothing wrong with this, I'd say. If he's going to play this knee shield, I would highly recommend Joe go to like a Z guard. If he just really likes this, he needs to lock his legs here to create a Z guard. This dramatically changes things. This now you're able to lock John's leg down, and you're able to actually focus on getting the hands off your head, and then you can actually extend away. You can extend away, and you can contract whatever you're trying to do with the Z guard. But you can do both those things, and it becomes very offensive. But having your feet kind of open like this, and just trying to wedge this knee between the two of you, it just takes a lot of energy. So yes, I would encourage Joe here to go to a Z guard. John here is doing a good job of being really high, chest connection. Doesn't really care about this leg because he's so high. And as long as he just keeps that pressure going down, this is kind of an old school tactic too, where you just kind of drain the guy. Just keep pressuring. Until the guy gets tired, then you pass. So I like his knees really high here, and he's kind of cross face, and he's just kind of keeping that pressure in. What I'd like to see John do here too is don't forget kind of tripoding here would be a good idea. Kind of tripod to free this hook so it can actually just go ahead and pass, or slide the knee to mount. There's all kinds of things you can do. A lot of people don't like the idea of separating and tripoding here, or even disconnecting, because we're all trained to if you're attacking, you're on top, squeeze out as much space as you can, and if you're on bottom, you're trying to somewhat create spaces. You can actually try to produce attacks, and then once you get those attacks and entries, then you can actually close out all the spaces you can to actually finish a submission or to finish whatever kind of attack you're doing. But when you disconnect a little bit and you tripod up, when you have upper body connection, then you can actually free your legs pretty easily, because your hips can go left and right? And you can use all kinds of different techniques, to actually, windshield wipering, all these things, riding the legs, all this stuff, to actually free your leg. So once he frees the leg, and that's what he should technically do here. And that tripod will also give John a lot more pressure from the top and really crush down, which will make it even more uncomfortable for Joe. Okay, that's good. Got a hook here. And again, John just super committed to that cross face, trying to keep that upper body connection. And Joe did a really good job of just getting that hook in and starting to get the sweep to get on top. And this was just a bit of over committing and not recognizing that you're going to lose your base here. And so Joe got a good sweep here, and now he's on top. Okay, it's good. So now we're going to see Joe do some passing here. A little bit of looks like maybe go to, what is this, a rubber guard kind of thing, or maybe do some rubber guard. Nope. Or set up a triangle. John has his own hook here. He's going to try to get a hook sweep. He's trying to block off the right arm here. Not bad. So we'll see the sweep. Good. That at least created a scramble. Joe was able to keep his balance there and get back to, and stay on his knees. But this allows John to get up on the elbow here. This is important. Getting up on this elbow here, creating some height. This is good. Get connection with the neck. Pulling him back, pulling Joe back in here. Joe goes back into the guard, full guard. Again, I'm a big fan right here. If the guy does not have me in closed guard, I'm out of there. I'm backing up and I'm going back in. I'm going out. I'm backing up. I'm going forward. I'm going left. I'm going right. I'm backing up. And I'm going to not stay in this little space right here. This space, it's longer Joe stays here, it's going to be an advantage to John. Unless, Joe really starts to put pressure on and starts to try to pass, maybe in a body lock kind of thing, this could work as well. But kind of staying in this position or falling into this position is going to be an advantageous for the person on bottom. So I would encourage Joe here to try to touch the back out. Because you can see now how, John's trying to climb his legs high. He's posting on the hip here to create a wedge to get extension. So I missed that part. So it looks like he threw the leg over. I'm sorry. I want to see this. So there's the leg. Yep. And this is what I'm kind of talking about here. So Joe's reaching in. I can't see what's going on the other side. He may be going for double unders or something here, but he reaches that arm in, and we can see the leg getting thrown over. Boom. So now we're getting a bit of triangle position, but it looks like Joe's reaching through here to reach for the other foot. So we'll see, because I'm going to go to the other side here. All right. So, okay, good. So Joe has a good pinch on this hook right here. John's leg is still in between Joe here, in between Joe's hips here, and it's under Joe with a hook. And so Joe's kind of pinching this, right? So that to not allow that hook to come out. I suspect, we talked about this. I think Joe is going to reach in and try to grab that toe, and then he can actually technically start to step over and pass. But again, nothing wrong with this, I'd say, but kind of playing in this it's a dangerous game to play with this, just this space right here, right? Because if John does free that leg, or he kind of kicks Joe off balance here, where Joe has to post or something, like he has to post with his right arm, or maybe that his left hand here does pull up his elbow, this is going to be a problem. Then he's going to have to kind of fight out of a submission or a potential attack. Okay, so John's going to smash the head down, try to climb to the back. It's a good strategy. Turn the corner. Joe's staying heavy on this leg, and it's going to be the battle here. You got to be very careful. I was about to say, Joe's going to have to move here, because if John gets that arm through there, his leg through the body there, through the hips, then he's going to be in a Troy bar type position, and this is going to be, now you have to produce an escape from a submission. Okay, so now this is a bit of a Troy bar position. I'd like to see this leg go all the way through, so I should see his toes pop out the other side here. This gives a really good pinch and a lockdown on the hips, and then he can actually start to just kind of work the arm. Good. I like that John's reaching for the hand. This is good. Again, this leg should be sliding all the way through, if indeed he wanted to do a Troy bar. There's other things he can do. He can actually start to go to his knees here again, and actually maybe do a back step and take the back, which is an interesting move to pull off from the Troy bar. It's kind of a popular thing to do now, if you get in the Troy bar position, to actually get to the knees and step up and do a back step to try to take the back. Good. So Joe got escaped from that position, and now there's inside position. So now we have Joe has inside position. So going for like a body lock. I like that John's wedging his arm here to get between the neck and his chest here. This is good. Trying to dig back to the inside position. Joe's staying really low on the hips here. Now he's sliding up to get more to the chest, to the crossface. This is good. Good half. He's kind of staying here in a half guard position. Looks like John is getting to the side here. Going to probably try to go for some panda stuff. Kind of block the inside position. I like Joe stepping over here, stepping over the leg. Going to look for a back attack. And the reason why Joe was actually lost that position is because John here went to Panda and decided to go to the inside position. Once he went to the inside position, he's able to dump that leg off so that Joe can't actually go to his bat, because now the leg that was a hook is now over top of the head. And so now this, this force is not, this is good. It's not terrible for Joe here, because that Joe could just swing that leg over. He's going to be back on top and side control again. Good. That was a good attempt. John trying to block the pass, or block the side control there. And good. John's building height, and he's getting up on his elbow. Always recommend this. Always continue to try to build height here, and it just makes it more difficult to hold you down. So this is some, what we call, it's referred to like some of the butt judo here from John's perspective. He's going to try to do some butt judo, like maybe grab the leg here, trap the arm, Joe's arm and head. Is where all the buggy chokes are and all this stuff. But more some butt judo here going on. And I like that, I'd like to see Joe here continue going for that kind of seatbelt position, maybe slide that right knee in and start to pull back a little bit. We'll see what happens. There's the right knee. And you can see John is actually trying to tilt down to get it to throw Joe over, but Joe's scooting back and getting really pressure pulling back. Nice. So pulled back, and John went to spin to get on top. So this is really good. So Joe's threatening to take his back here. So then John recognizes this, and then he bridges up to get on top. Kind of like the little booby trap system that we play, to get on top here and slide through. It looks like he can get to his back, but there's a lack of hooks here. There's a lack of a seat belt on the shoulder here with the right hand from Joe. Boom. And then he can get that turn. Once he gets that turn, now he's back on top. That was good on both guys, on the part of both guys here. Again, so now we got maybe a possible hook here from Joe. No, so he's got it. So Joe here he needs to start to really produce a hook here and really get this leg back in between the two of them. Or if he's not going to do that, then he needs to go to inverted here, bridge up on his shoulder and go inverted and begin to attack legs, or roll through and Granby and reset the position. That being said, both these guys are pretty tired, so we'll see if what happens here. Okay, so now John's effectively passed, and he's going to try. It looks like he's going to go for like a head and arm position here. Joe goes to his knees. Good. This is good. Better than staying on your side. So now you're a little more back to active. So we have a head and arm here, and it's like John's kind of a half Nelson here. Kind of crank the head down. Switches. Trying to wedge this leg in here. Got an inside position on this side, so that's good. So he's going to try to pull around. He's going to push it on Joe's head here. So Joe, I don't know what that is. That's actually pretty funny. I just smashed the guy's head into the floor. Pull the guy's head around. Okay. So then he goes and throws the hook to the inside. That's really funny. Okay. So I do like that. There's some position stuff you can play here, like some high ground stuff, and there's some new stuff here you can play with. I'm not sure what's happening with the left arm over here, but Joe's playing kind of a traditional turtle. His elbows are to the inside, and he's covering his neck. I generally do not teach this. I know it's traditional, and it's, in my opinion, this is what was more people used a lot more in the gi. In no-gi, I think it's much more effective to play the panda turtle, and so this would bring Joe's elbows back and to the outside, and this would just get rid of all this like pummeling inside stuff, and Joe would be able to get a little more back to active by controlling his own inside position and not allowing that to happen. So when John puts his knee in here between the armpit and the hip, or throws his arm into here between the arm and Joe's arm and hip, if Joe were to actually switch to a panda turtle, then this wouldn't be happening. So I'm not saying I'm not saying one necessarily one's better. I am kind of saying one's better than the other. This still works, traditional turtle, nobody get mad. I still think it still works really well. I just find that in Nogi that Panda seems to work a little better. So, especially from taking this. So one thing I can tell John here from top perspective, when somebody really turtles up like this, really tight, couple things. One is sometimes they're kind of, we call it the body's locked together, which means that when you move them with specific moves, their whole body will move. Now, I see John kind of pulling Joe around here, like pulling him around, and you see Joe's not really moving. What I would tell John here, if I was instructing him to do something, is to actually take his right hand here that's pressing on the head and just grab Joe's foot and just stand, and John should just stand up with his foot so that it can pull Joe on his side. And it's a very simple technique. You can also do this if John had got to the inside position with his hand, like he had. If John were to get to his hook in here and was able to grab Joe's hand from the inside position, he could do the same thing and just stand up and pull straight up, and then he could actually throw his hooks in. This is a pretty funny way to take the back, but it's extremely effective. It's very simple. So this would be one way to kind of break open the turtle. There's many other methods to break open a turtle, but just kind of fighting to push your hands in and push your legs out. It is exhausting for the person on bottom to try to defend, but it's there's more efficient ways to do this. And there you go. So see how you use the back leg to kind of pull Joe here, and this opened Joe up. So look at Joe's elbows here. His elbows are open. Again, if this was Panda Turtle, this would not be happening. It would be very different. So John's just really frantically trying to get to inside here to get to a seatbelt position. I would just instruct Joe, don't even bother with the seatbelt. Just face the other direction. John should be facing towards Joe's toes, and he should be inserting his right knee here in, and his right hand should just wrap around the hip and then pull Joe back on top of him and start to go for the back attack that way and go into more of a twister back control or even a traditional back attack, maybe in truck positions and things like this. This is a much easier way. Instead of trying to fight the top of the body, which is where the hands are and the neck and all this stuff, just go straight to the lower body. It's much easier to attack the lower body in this kind of turtle position. Good. Again, you're just trying to fight to get to the inside position. Okay, now he's going for the foot here, so we'll see. No, so see, when he went for the foot, he just kind of pulled him towards him. This was kind of a waste of energy to a certain degree. It looks like he will get to an inside position with the left hand, but you still need hooks with your legs, and you still need a seatbelt position on this side and or an inside position on the other side. So we'll see if that happens. If he would actually just stand straight up, this would give him opportunity. Okay, looks like the hook's going to happen. There we go. So the hook goes in. Doesn't quite have a seatbelt yet, but he's got one hook. Okay. Joe recognizes the armbar coming and immediately goes flat. So this is actually very good. Very good to just go flat and turn into the person here. Not a bad strategy. And now let's get his elbow to the ground. And you can see this elbow, this armbar is very open now. Separation of the legs, and Joe really needs to turn here. Either turn to get on top, or what I would actually recommend is him to go parallel, which means that Joe's feet would walk towards John, and so his feet would be next to John's head, and this just creates a parallel position to where it makes it very difficult to finish the armbar as long as Joe gives him a thumb down. Leg over the head, it looks like. Hit him in the head a little bit. There we go. All right, so that was a very long breakdown. I apologize. That was like 40 minutes long, so sorry. But there's a lot of cool stuff there, a lot of things to look at, a lot of things that can be fixed or added, I think all the stuff was good. There's place for all of this stuff, but you can actually add additional things to the guard. Specifically for Joe, and then from top position, John, there's some more. There's other things that John can actually do to make his passing a little more efficient and give variation. So and then also all of this will basically be conserving energy as well. So there it is, very good, and I'll stop at almost 40 minutes. So all right, thanks.